The love between siblings is truly special, and when we add the fact that they're also all warriors, it's definitely something to admire. This story touches us deeply and makes us appreciate the sacrifices made by those who serve. 3 brothers joined the army, but only one came back. You're probably wondering what happened to the other 2. The truth is that both of them died, but they didn't die together, and it wasn't even during combat. One was killed in a training exercise and the other while on a mission. But the most incredible part of this story is that the 3rd brother managed to escort both of his brothers' coffins home. But why did he choose to stay in the army after experiencing so much loss? What did he do there? How did he honor his brothers? Stick with us until the end of the video to find out. There were 3 brothers who lived in California. Their names were Eddie, Patrick, and John. They decided to follow in their father's footsteps and enlisted in the army. Each of them had their own reasons for doing so. Eddie wanted to be a soldier since he was little and often played army games with his action figures. He said that being a soldier ran through his veins. Patrick joined the army to get an education and have a stable job after graduating high school. John, the youngest, enlisted right after high school because he wanted to make his parents proud. All 3 brothers completed basic training and were sent to different parts of the country for further training. Eddie was sent to Fort Bragg in North Carolina. Patrick went to Fort Drum in New York, and John ended up in Fort Stewart in Georgia. All of them missed their family, friends, and especially each other. They promised to visit each other as soon as they could. The first to return home was Eddie. He took advantage of a short break between missions to surprise his parents and visit his brothers. When Patrick heard that Eddie was at home, he asked for a few days off to go see him. He hadn't seen his brother in almost a year and was eager to hear about his experiences. When Patrick arrived at Eddie's base, they decided to take a few days to explore the nearby areas and enjoy some time together. They visited the beach, played paintball, and went to several bars and restaurants. It was the first time in a long time that they felt like civilians and enjoyed every moment of it. Before Patrick left, Eddie gave him a tour of his unit and told him about his daily activities. Patrick was impressed by his brother's dedication and the sense of duty he showed in everything he did. On his last day there, Patrick promised to visit again soon, and then he left. John, who was the youngest, was very excited to see his brothers. He had only met Eddie once before, but had heard so many stories about him from their parents and other relatives. When he finally got the chance to meet Patrick, they had a great time together and bonded over their shared experiences. John asked many questions about Eddie, and Patrick talked about how proud he was of his younger brother for joining the army. Before saying goodbye, they promised to keep in touch and support each other no matter what happened. Tragedy struck, and the brothers lost contact. At first, the letters and phone calls continued as normal, but after a few months, they became less frequent. Then suddenly, communication ceased entirely. One day, Eddie received a letter from Patrick informing him that he had been deployed to a combat zone. Eddie was worried about his brother, but knew that he had been trained for this and would be able to handle it. Still, he couldn't help but feel concerned. Then, one night, Eddie was awoken in the middle of the night by screams in his nightmares. He could hear explosions, gunfire, and people shouting and crying. He tried to wake up, but it was too late. He was already inside the nightmare. He was in a helicopter with several other soldiers. Suddenly, it started shaking violently. One of the soldiers screamed, "We're under attack," and Eddie woke up with a start. His heart was beating fast, and his hands were sweaty. He looked around the room, but it was just a nightmare. He was safe. Then he remembered his brother Patrick was in a combat zone. He tried calling him, but the line was constantly busy. Finally, someone answered the phone. It was Patrick's sergeant. "Is everything all right?" he asked. Eddie could hear the concern in his voice. "No, not really. I had a bad dream about Patrick." "Is he okay?" "Yes, he's fine. He's on a mission right now, so I can't let you talk to him. But don't worry, he'll be back soon." After hanging up, Eddie felt a sense of relief, knowing that his brother was okay. But deep down, he couldn't shake the feeling that something was wrong. Days turned into weeks, and Eddie still hadn't heard from Patrick. He was starting to get worried again. One day, he received a package in the mail. He opened it and found a neatly folded flag with a note attached. It read, "Dear Eddie, I am honored to have known your brother. He was a hero and will be missed." With deepest sympathy, Eddie felt a lump in his throat. He knew that meant only one thing. As soon as he could, he called John. The phone was picked up and a strange voice said, "Hello. Hi, is John there?" Speaking. "Oh, hi, John. I'm Eddie. Can you tell me what happened to Patrick?" There was a long pause. "I'm sorry, Eddie, but I have some bad news. Patrick died on a mission yesterday. He was killed by enemy fire." Eddie felt his knees go weak. He sat down on the nearest chair and tried to process the news. After a few moments, he managed to say, "I understand. Thank you for telling me." After they hung up, Eddie felt numb. He couldn't believe that his brother was dead. He kept replaying the conversation in his head, trying to make sense of what had happened. At that moment, he wished more than anything to be able to talk to Patrick one last time. He missed him so much. Months passed and Eddie was still struggling to cope with the loss of his brother. He felt isolated and couldn't connect with anyone. He was haunted by nightmares and flashbacks of the incident, and couldn't bring himself to talk about it with anyone. One day, he was approached by a counselor who worked with soldiers who had experienced trauma. She offered him support and understanding and helped him open up about his feelings. Through therapy, Eddie learned that it was important to talk about his feelings and not keep them bottled up inside. He also realized that seeking help was a sign of strength, not weakness. With the help of the counselor, Eddie began to heal and move forward with his life. He started going on walks in nature, practicing yoga and meditation and spending time with loved ones. Slowly but surely, he began to feel like himself again. Throughout this difficult time, Eddie received support from his family and friends who rallied around him, offering comfort and understanding. They helped him through the hardest moments and reminded him that he was loved and valued. As time passed, the pain of losing his brother lessened, but the memory of Patrick lived on. Eddie knew that his brother had died a hero and was proud of the service he had given. One day, Eddie received a call from the government informing him that he was eligible to receive Patrick's medals and other benefits. He was awarded the Purple Heart and other military honors in a ceremony attended by his family and friends. During the ceremony, Eddie promised to honor his brother's memory by living a life full of purpose and meaning. He vowed to continue serving others and making a difference in the world, just as Patrick had done. In the following years, Eddie continued to serve in the army, working hard to make a positive impact. He knew that Patrick would be proud of him, and that motivated him to do his best. Despite the challenges he faced, Eddie never forgot the lessons he learned while serving. He spoke publicly about his experiences, raising awareness about the importance of mental health and the sacrifices made by those in the armed forces. He also wrote a book titled, "I Brought My Brothers Back," which became a bestseller and was adapted into a movie. The story touched the hearts of millions and inspired many to seek help and support when facing adversity. Through his work, Eddie was able to honor the memory of his brother and help others who had experienced similar tragedies. He became a role model for many, showing that it's possible to overcome even the toughest challenges with courage, resilience, and determination. And so the story of Eddie, Patrick, and John serves as a reminder of the bravery and sacrifice of those who serve in the armed forces. It's a testament to the power of family and the importance of seeking help and support when facing adversity. As Eddie says, we serve, we grieve, we heal.